in May last year, I had the idea to make my app Practice Penguins. And it came about from chatting with my mentor and him helping me, just to look at the reality, look at what technology is doing to the world right now, and also how I could look at what I'm doing. So I predominantly make my money at the moment from teaching music, and how that could look like in the form of an app. And then I had the idea in May. It came to me to make it. I know I'm not like the only person in the world to make a practice tracking app for children for different activities, but I'm doing it, my style, it's my journey, and I never did any of this stuff before, and technology is making that available for us to do that, which is pretty incredible. If you haven't already started to tinker around yourself, I really, really recommend just pick a thing up, just have an idea and see how far you can go with it. You might really be surprised what you can do. Think wild, like something crazy, like have a dream, got an idea, try it out, see if you can make it happen. If it's something, some cool thing that you think you'd be excited about to try and do and to bring into this world. So it took me from May until December last year to get all my ideas out for that first version of the app. And then between January and I'd say around like mid-March or so, or early March, in that time I've been just making sure that everything's working, fixing it. I've got some like AI characters in there that I kind of like got like some basically like chatbots that I've given characters like personalities to. They're like I was working at the prompting for them and playing around with that sort of stuff, and the whole core feature of that app, which is being able to set a goal, like a Goldilocks goal, so helping the students learn how to set a goal that's achievable, but it's not too easy, but not too hard, and encouraging that mentality and behavior, and then how that can apply to not just music practice, but to all parts of their life. And the app's mainly aimed at children between like the ages of like 5 or 8 to 12 years old. But that core feature, I had issues. It just like kept failing and breaking and things. Like it was working, but then it would break, and so super unstable. So I had to kind of go into that and like pull out the whole engine of it and then rework it, and then finally it's like 99% like all working there now. And then I had a chat with a couple of people in between that time, and I kind of had some aha moments. I'm like, man, like there's like this kind of missing piece to the puzzle, and it's like, okay, it seemed like I was convinced like two completely separate people had the same advice of like, bringing music teachers more into the loop of the use of the app. And so I kind of had this like flash of ideas after chatting with a couple of people, and also after the feedback, because I had since September last year until about like end of December, I was doing beta testing with my music students and with like their parents and a few colleagues, and also some of my family as well, and my partner. And from the feedback of that, like that's also what I started, like I kind of was going and implementing that through that time, and then also like just fixing some stuff up earlier this year. But I felt also like there was just like kind of some piece of it that was missing, that even if like I hear, like listening to a lot of podcasts and also like the LLMs like to quote this sort of stuff, that they know you're doing software like engineering. I call it like, what would you call it? It's not vibe coding, it's not no coding, it's like low coding, but it's like I don't know, could do like a hyphenated name, like no code, low code, vibe code, meta prompting engineer. Let's call it that. And that's what I've been doing. Yeah, since May last year. But it's like, oh man, lost track of thought. What was I gonna say? That they, yeah, I kind of realized, I realized that that there was just like kind of some piece of the whole thing missing, and like even just like for the beginning kind of version of it. And yeah, that's what I was going to say, that the LLMs like kind of like to quote like, oh, you got to ship it now. And then I listen to podcasts and I start to hear those words like ship it, ship it, ship it. And I'm like, oh, that's where they're getting that from, like the Y Combinator and A16Z and like these kind of like techie people and Steve Jobs and all that. And you know, ship it, make it, and ship it fast, and blah 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 blah. But like, I'm like, but I can't ship it yet because it's like there's something missing. There's some, like, okay, like, you know, you don't want to have all these millions of features and you never make the thing public and never release it. But I was like kind of really thinking about that. I'm just like, no, I reckon there's a piece missing. And first of all, I was like, okay, I had this grand idea which I put to the side. I haven't let it go, and which is like to build like go into Unity and in Blender, maybe, I don't know. I'm working it all out and brainstorming with Grok and all of the guys, the whole gang, Grok and Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT. This is kind of my crew. I don't really go out of that circle. I feel like that's kind of enough for me. I have a few different Claudes. I got Claude on my phone, I got Claude on my computer, and same with Grok and ChatGPT and etc. And yeah, that's kind of good for me for the moment. But chatting with them and brainstorming and it's like yeah, okay, I can go into Unity and like learn all this new bunch of like craziness and work out how to build like games and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that's the missing piece. And I was really convinced about that for a while, but now I feel like, okay, that's an awesome that's an awesome piece, but not for now. Like, that's going to take so long. I mean, so long, what's long, but it's going to take, that will take a while, a lot of like new learning. And yeah, like I got ideas of how I want to go in that direction, but I just feel like, okay, like actually, yeah, since having kind of a chat with these couple of people like about this, like kind of how to bring the music teacher actually into the loop of the whole thing, I could really like that. And I was like, that actually felt, I'm like, that feels like the missing piece. And then I'm like, now since like early, I guess it's like early March until now, so it's like taking me about 6 weeks or something. I think it's like 6 weeks, maybe 5. But I've basically taken about 5 weeks to basically build a second app, which is a teacher dashboard that fits in with the practice app for the students. But I'm like connecting that, but the time that it's taken me, like all that learning that I've done from May to December, now I'm able to apply all of that and condense it. And it's taken me like 5 weeks to almost get to the point that it took me, was it May to December? How many of a months that is? I can't work it out. Yeah. To do the thing, like that's, for me, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's mind blowing. And the thing, what I love, like I'm using FlutterFlow to build it. I've been using that the whole time, even though Claude Code and all these things have kind of come in and people are like going wild on that stuff. Like I feel like I haven't used Claude Code. I don't have $200 spare each month to spend on that and then plus more or whatever. So I'm just like, you know, I'm just happy that I can spend $20 on Gemini a month, and then I use the free plans of the other LLMs, and then sometimes I'll switch around who my main, who I have the main account with. But for the moment, it's Gemini, and that's for me. Like, that's fine. That's fine. And that's what I can do. And so I'm working with what I can do. And so, but I'm listening to podcasts of people like, you know, and watching on X and everything, and they're going like wild about the Claude Code thing. And like, I haven't used it. Like I use Claude, just the LLM, and I find that he's like amazing. But just using him as like literally like an individual person that I will like ask questions to and like get feedback. I'll be like, hey, Gemini just wrote me this. Do you think that's all right? I have a feeling like he's kind of gotten stuck again in his old thoughts. Like, I really feel like Gemini is like kind of like this old grandpa. It's like, it's cool, but then sometimes it just really gets like super just like, no, there's one way or there's a highway, and doesn't even tell you how to get to the highway. It's just like, we're just going that one way, and just like, yeah, but it's wrong. Like, I even got Gemini to write himself his own message to try and not go back into the same failures. I send Gemini that message, and he still doesn't believe himself. He's that convinced that the one way is the one way, and the highway just doesn't even exist. Like, we just don't deal with that. So Claude and Grok, and especially Claude, actually, I find, it's really helpful for that. But but I just find like with FlutterFlow, it's how it's built, and like I'm really grateful that so I saw for a while, like a few months back, they were kind of going in another direction and not putting as much energy into FlutterFlow, and it seemed like that started to become like a side. I don't know, but it just kind of felt like that, a bit that like, kind of like they were taking energy out of that and then putting more into this kind of like more vibe coding thing. But what I feel now is like, I'm so glad that they've listened to, it seems like I don't, like, again, I'm not like, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm just observing for myself, and I could be wrong, but it just seems like that they've been listening to the feedback of what their users have been saying, like, yeah, like, please, kind of keep this thing alive and go with that, and put energy into it, and not just go down this vibe coding track like a lot of other systems of like other platforms have done, which is like, it's totally great, like fantastic. But I feel, something like Claude Code, for me, from what I'm observing and what I'm listening, like if I was a trained and studied software engineer with a lot of experience, something like Claude, or even just a little, even though I just like, done a semester of coding or something, I just feel something like Claude Code, even though I haven't even used it, it just sounds like that's like the suit, like putting on your Superman suit. Like as a musician, for example, if I go in, like if I go in and use some AI tools to do with music, for me, that's my superhero, like my Superman suit, like that's, like that superfies my already existing powers and training as a musician, and it just puts me to the next level. So I'm not making AI music slop, I'm making like next level stuff, and I'm doing it a lot quicker because I already have my ears, I already have my taste, I already, like, I've been playing the violin since the age of 3, and then so it's like I have all of that experience and hearing, and all the music that I've heard, and all the stuff that I studied, and all the people that I've played music with, and all the experiences that I've had, and all the concerts that I've played, and all this stuff, like that all comes into play, and then you inject that with like the tools that are coming out with the AI stuff. It's just like, wow, that's crazy. And I feel like what I'm seeing is that's what's occurring in like the people that are already studied software engineers, and that's awesome. But with the vibe coding thing, like if you go into a program, and like I think I said this before some time ago, but like I had a friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, like, check this out. Like, tell me your idea of the app. I'm going to write it into this vibe coding program. But I won't, like, didn't say it exactly like just use the premise of what I'm doing with my app, and like practice tracking thing for like whatever. And put it into the app, and then 5 minutes later, he's got a version of my app that basically, like, it's, okay, so the back end, none of it, that's hooked up, and there's, like login buttons are missing, and there's all this stuff. You'd have to go in there and be like, oh, actually, you actually can't get to that page because there's nothing linking them together, and you have to kind of go through and be like, learn it a different way and find out what's missing in a different way and style it up a different way. And then also you got to learn how to even set the back end to it. So you got the cloud connected to it, and how you can do all of that. So that wasn't existing with the version that my friend made through the vibe coding platform, but the fact that it could just happen so quickly is just like, wow, that's crazy. But like I didn't have the control over how it looked. It's like it's dictated to me through the platform. Like, this is how your app will look. This is what you've got. And and if you don't have, yes, okay, like we all use apps, right? And we see it, but if you're just using apps and you don't have that understanding of how they all work, you don't see everything. It's like a piece of music. Like I hear and I see a piece of music very differently to somebody who hasn't studied music. Like I can listen to the different layers and levels and understand like how those bits are going together, or those bits are going together, and why it might have just jumped over here to this thing, or like how that's a cool thing like compared to other songs, or why that song sounds different to that song, or what makes different genres sound different, or like all that kind of stuff. It's the same with like the apps. Like when I use apps before, you just use them and either just say, oh, it's annoying, or it's great, or somewhere in between. And now when I use apps, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a great idea. I love that. Or I'll go in like now, like, and you just see stuff differently. But point is like how I find like FlutterFlow compared to what I see with platforms like that, where you just kind of prompt in an idea and like, make me the thing. Thanks for making me the thing. It's like, you kind of the human in the loop, but you kind of just like the person sitting in the back seat and don't really have that much to say. Like you got an idea, but then like to be able to grow that idea and stuff, like, yeah, I guess it's just another way of working, but then you also kind of got to work out how the back end goes. And I don't know, like I said, I've only been using FlutterFlow. I haven't gone in and used these different programs, but so I can just say what I know of my experience of what I've been using. And what is awesome is like FlutterFlow lets me see very, like, yes, it's taken a lot of like repetitions to start to see the order in the chaos, like a lot of like almost like a whole year of repetitions of doing the thing, and then slowly being like, that's okay, I get the conditional thing. It's like you kind of just apply, like coding is life. Like coding is like you walking from your bedroom to the kitchen and opening the fridge up and getting something out, and that decision is like, are you going to choose the lettuce or are you going to choose the cheese? And that's like a condition. Like if you choose the cheese, then la 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 la, or if you choose the lettuce, then la la la, and then maybe la la la, and then maybe that's going to happen, then maybe that's going to happen, and then actually then that's going to stop, and then that's just the end of that chapter. Like it's wild. It's wild. Like I really get why people are into that, like the simulation theory that we're living in a simulation. Like it's wild. It's wild. And like also there's like how not black and white this whole thing is, but again, it's just like FlutterFlow is like allowed me to learn what I'm doing. Like even I look at the code and I'm now not afraid to do stuff in it, like, and I have a better understanding of how, like, I also get the LLMs to write it better for me, so that they write in it like what that part does and what that part does, so I can more clearly kind of go in there and be like, oh, actually they wrote the wrong like the area that I'm based in to make like a function work properly. Like Gemini loves to write the wrong one in there often, or it likes to imagine that I have to use a particular program even though FlutterFlow is developed, like, yeah. Anyway, like he likes to just kind of put stuff in there because he's stuck on the one lane thing, and I can't convince him otherwise, so I have to kind of go in there and like be like, oh yeah, he did that again, and like take that out and re-put stuff in there. But like, I don't know, 4 months ago I couldn't do that. And this is the sort of stuff that FlutterFlow is allowing me to learn. Yes, like now they're working out like a system that you can do it, like a lot of design stuff, but like, I mean, still, like you can design the thing, but then you can put that into FlutterFlow, and then you still got to work out how you're going to connect everything with the back end and everything like that. And it's just set up so that you can actually really learn it. And, and now, like I said, like going through that process, like using the LLMs externally, like FlutterFlow, it doesn't put like a limit on stuff. Not that I've found so far with what I'm doing. I mean, I can be wrong, like talk to me like, in 6 months from now, like maybe I'll be like, yeah, but actually I have to move out of that or whatever. But so far I just don't see any limits in there. It's like, if you want to work with code within that, you can. If you want to work with vibe coding and do all that stuff, you can. I don't know if you get to like the full point of completion, I don't know, but I don't even, I don't have any motivation to try and work that out just for the sake of being like yes or no. Like, it's just, that's not important to me, because there's so much to do anyway. It's just like my mind's just blowing. It's wild. It's really something else. And just that it's possible. It's like, it just really, yeah, man, it's just like coming back to that idea, what that room in the Matrix where they go in and then like, they just like, yeah, I want to learn how to do Kung Fu. And then all of a sudden, like, you download the Kung Fu thing and then you can do it. And this is just like the old school way of doing it. It's like Matrix in the 1950s or something. They're just like, okay, so it's a bit clunky still, and it takes a year or so to kind of actually get the programming done, and then all of a sudden you can do Kung Fu. But that's still pretty short amount of time in the scheme of things. And I just really appreciate that. It's like, yeah, you can, in FlutterFlow, you can do things like the simple way, but it, and it guides you that way, but it also allows you, if you find the ways to push it and for example, like inside of it, you can make an AI bot with a prompt in there, and that'll take you like 5 minutes to do it, but and then you kind of locked into the system, and you have to pay about like 50 euros more or something. I said what for one of them. I think if you want to have more than one, you have to pay extra per month to be able to do that. But now, like, I've got 4 different bots in the app, and I've got plans to do more of that stuff, like at least one more. So I have at least 5 of them in there, and each with like separate prompts and stuff. And I can do that now, and it cost me like, I mean, I'm the only, like, it's like me and my mom and my dad at the moment using it, so the costs are very low. It's like 0.01 cents a month from Google that I'm paying to have like 4 chatbots that I, and like, FlutterFlow allows you to do that. If you find the way, if you find like the loophole or something, then you can find it. Like, I think, like, talking with the LLMs, I think that they brought me onto that because I was just like, yeah, I don't really have, I've got no spare cash to pay for like things, and I'm not a software engineer, but like, guide me how to do it. Like, how do we do this? And like, I don't know. I don't even know I don't know. They're just like, yeah, do this and this and that. And, I see it like, yeah, like doing all sorts of things that it wasn't like, I won't say it was easy, but I was just persistent with it. And I'd go, and it's like, they'd take me on this journey. So I'd like try this way out, and because like sometimes Gemini gives you options. It's not always like the one way or the highway, bro. But like, it would be like, okay, we'll try this way out. Okay, that didn't work. We'll try this way out. It didn't work. Let's try this way. That's still not working, but maybe it's getting closer. There's this way. Then there's the easy way, but it's just like, yeah, but no, I don't want to be locked in. I don't want to pay like $50 more a month just for that. So let's keep going, and just going through that process. And it's like, it's really like, oh my God. Yeah, like, oh my God. But, it's just like that. But for me at least, but yeah, like managing to persist to like break through that and get to the other side. And now I've got freaking 4 characterized chatbots, like 4 different, I got like my 3 main penguin characters, Paula, Polo, and Pippin. And the other guy, the little Weddle seal pup, Finn. He plays the accordion, but he's secretly a famous jazz piano player, but he doesn't like the other guys to know that. But they all got their back end stories. I've got it like, it's, yes, naturally it's a work in progress. And according to the LLMs, according to Disney, I think it was Disney, that you don't have your, like, the whole like character back end story and the Bible of like your whole like world is not complete until the characters like personally, like you can tell their back end stories, like, and explain like all the like the stories and the like the connections between the characters, and like the where which one came from where and what they were doing and why, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not there yet, but I've got enough work to do at the moment. But it's over the time. It's kind of like it's coming along. But I still have like made prompts to give them a shared like they all know. I've made it so they all know each other. So if you chat with one and you ask it about the other guy, like it'll be able to tell you a bit about their story. And like, yeah, it's just like, this is the stuff that I've been able to learn that FlutterFlow allows you to learn. Like, I mean, if I didn't have the LLMs, I definitely wouldn't be this far. Like, I don't know what I'd have. I think I would have given up by now. I don't know. Or I just have some shitty thing that you can't put on the App Store because there's no back end or something like that. But yes, it's wild. But just I think that idea of like not giving up your creative freedom and being the driver in control, like being in the driving seat, and you got your ideas, and then you got your workers around you, which are the LLMs, and then you can, you got your ideas, and then they can help you to make them into reality. And I find working like that is very exciting because I have then 100% creative control, even if I'm like, I know what I want now, because over time, like my taste is improving. Like I start to understand, because like I said, I start to look at apps differently. I'm like, oh, how did they build they pull up like the bottom sheet when you swipe up and like another little kind of thing pops up. Like, how do they do that? What's exactly the flow of that? How does that feel? Why does it feel like that? What are the little steps that go into it feeling like that? Or like a button, like even like on Apple with like this new glass effect that they've got, like, I mean, I got to say, it annoys me because there's some functions that when you press on it, it's not immediate, like it's slowed down, and you just have to wait for like the glass effect to do its thing. And yeah, it looks cool, but it's just like adds like, it's like 1x, like, or even just like 30-second, like 30 millisecond delay or something. But it's like, for me, it's noticeable. And like that stuff I notice now. And like, yeah, was it really worth it to make it look cool, but then the app to not be working as like fluently as it was before? I'm not sure about that. But but I see that stuff now, and so it's like saying like my taste is developing for things, and I can start to see stuff differently. And I think it's really like, I've been listening to a few podcasts like with like people like being interviewed from Cursor and Figma and stuff, and yeah, and just like that idea that taste is really something that can separate, like it separates the slop from the not slop. I mean, it's not the only thing, because obviously you need to make it all function as well, but yeah, it's really something else. And yeah, is like, because I've been building again, like I had a couple months where I wasn't building, and I was just like making sure that everything was working before I would start polishing the app and making it look pretty and do all the like cool haptics and effects and like animations and these things. And yeah, I just yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's a wild ride. And yeah, it's like, just to be able to keep that control and not give everything up to the LLMs, just to kind of give you what they want, or like what they think is like ideal or something. It's just like learning how to drive them, and you be the one with the ideas. And yes, you can brainstorm with the LLMs, but yeah, it's like, yeah, just I think for me, that's exciting. Being a human in the loop of all of that, for me, that's ultra exciting. And I can't wait. Like, I just feel like, yeah, man, it's just like, it's just, I'm so excited. It's just like, man, I really haven't hit any limits yet. And I just really appreciate being able to use FlutterFlow in that way, that it doesn't, the more I learn, the deeper I go, and the more things that I can do in that platform. And it just, like, eventually, like, I see that I can even like get into the code eventually if I just want to do that and work that out. But at the moment, I like having my little action flows that I can see, like the little step by steps, and choose my little conditional and like click here and there and work all that stuff out. And then by doing that, that helps me learn what the heck is going on and what the heck the LLMs are talking about. And yeah, and then I'm starting to able to, like, sometimes like even Gemini will use, like, he'll name stuff that like in FlutterFlow they call a widget a container, but then Gemini refers to it as like some Steam thing. I can't even remember now, but then I've gone into the code separately in FlutterFlow, and then I've learnt that I can actually click on that contain, like I can click on stuff within a page, and then I kind of work backwards, and I'll click until I find that word that Gemini's saying. And I'm like, I just did that, I think yesterday. I was like, okay, why the heck does he keep calling this thing that? Or Inkwell, is it Inkwell? I think it's Inkwell. And then I'm like, why do they keep saying that? And because for ages I just thought it was just like it was an old name, or it was talking about like native Flutter or something like that. But then I went into the code of FlutterFlow, which I can't, the subscription I have with them, I can't edit that at the moment. But if I wanted to pay a bit more, then I could do that. But yeah, and then I clicking around, and I found the thing that Gemini was talking about, and it was like the container is called that name that he keeps talking about. It's like, okay, cool, like I've learned a new thing, that's why he's saying that. So I don't need to keep telling him, hey, don't call it that, because it's actually in the code, it actually is called that. So actually he's correct. It's just, I'm like, man, why do I have to like kind of like translate everything you say? I've got enough, like it's hard enough. It's hard enough, bro. Like, come on, make it easy. But yeah, it's just like, okay, I'll stop putting my energy into trying to get him to name things how I like them. And yeah, and let's just like deal with what he's got, but with what he's saying. And at least now, you know, I finding ways so that I can actually learn myself what that's really called. And it's like nothing's going to waste. It's just like continuous learning. And yeah, just yeah, thanks, like massive thanks to FlutterFlow for just putting the energy into it. And like I'm just like they're doing all these updates that just keep making it more awesome. And yeah, like like all the time. And like as I go along, I'm just like, wow, they made that possible now. Oh, that's cool. And I didn't even understand what that was before, but now I see what it is, and that's awesome what they've, you know, and you can do that now. And I was having trouble with that, but I didn't know what that was. And then like, you know, months later, you just say, oh, they fixed that thing. And then, you know, actually they made it so that I can do that thing that I was having trouble with. And there's a reason why I was having trouble with it, because it was actually difficult. And, you know, I'm not the only one to do that. You can see kind of in the forums and stuff that, you know, people having issues with things, or just ask the LLMs to check out what's going on with that. Yeah, so yeah, just lots of work to do. And yeah, but yeah, so it's a ride.